Hello? It's Christy Gray, your newest hype girl and astrologer. Welcome to the Cosmic Hotline.
Hello, gorgeous, and welcome to another episode of the Cosmic Hotline. And this episode is an exciting one, as we've just entered into a brand new astrological year. So I thought it was the perfect time to reflect on the lessons I've learned and the growth that I've experienced. So in this week's episode, we'll be diving into 8 things I've learned over the past 12 months, both personally and professionally, from the power of manifestation to the importance of finding balance. And these lessons have helped me navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. So I want you to grab your favorite beverage, settle into a cozy spot, and join me on this journey of reflection and discovery. Whether you're a seasoned astrologer or a curious beginner, there's something for everyone in this week's bonus episode. And if you're looking for this week's astrology forecast, speaking into all things Aries season, the astrological new year, and this week's Aries new moon, then don't worry, boo, I've got you covered, because I'm releasing 2 episodes this week and you'll find everything you need to know in episode 41. Okay, I want to be completely transparent and vulnerable with you in this episode. So here goes. Lesson number 1. I have a question for you. What are your coping mechanisms? I've definitely uncovered that work is mine, and I've known this throughout my entire life, and it makes it even harder when you're obsessed with something. Hello, astrology. But what I've come to realize is that by pouring all of my time and energy into this area of my life, it's made other areas fall to the wayside. And every time I tried to pick them back up or pour energy into other areas, I ended up either being inconsistent or losing interest. And nothing grinds my gears more than inconsistency. For example, during 2020 and 2021, I was so obsessed with work and building my business during the pandemic that it was the first time really since my spiritual and health and well-being journey began that I actually let a lot of my rituals and fitness regime slip. Even during really adverse moments, I was always doing something to move my body and to find my balance and to find like a sense of harmony in my life, because health and fitness was really important to me. I was trying to proactively make some changes moving into 2022, but I wasn't necessarily creating a ton of momentum. What I ended up doing was going back to the drawing board and going, okay, what's going to help me to feel really inspired? What's going to help me to feel motivated? And also, what is something that I can stick to that I've always loved doing? And for me, that's reformer Pilates. Now, this lesson is all about coping mechanisms. And for me, it's work, but it's making sure that I'm prioritizing myself. And the only way that I can do that is if I intentionally bookend my day with rituals that support my values and also that are aligned to what's important to me. So what I ensure is every morning I might attend a reformer Pilates class, I might connect with a friend, or maybe in the evening it's making sure I switch off my laptop before 6 p.m. These are just some of the ways I'm changing up how I spend my time, how I spend my energy on all aspects of my life and not just focusing on one area. Lesson number 2, mental health walks have become my thing. Okay, I want you to bear with me on this one. I have definitely realized I love nothing more than waking up in the morning or stealing some time in my day and going outside and breathing in some fresh, salty air, because I live in such a beautiful place here in Australia. However, if I have too many decisions that I need to make, or if there's too many roadblocks for me doing something, I just won't do it. And it's so bizarre because I've never been like this before, but decision fatigue is real. And It's something that I've definitely felt over the last 5 years, more specifically since having a business. And what I did to really support my mental health walks, you could call them well-being walks. I think there was even a trend on TikTok calling them hot girl walks, whatever your jam is. For me, it's all about finding clarity, grounding down, and working through something, especially if I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So I decided to eliminate these roadblocks, which included I reorganized my Spotify, which I actually hadn't done since I downloaded the app 7 years ago. I had over 1,000 liked songs, and I don't even know what the deal was with that, but it took me a while. So it was a bit of a time investment on a Sunday, but I'm now down to 200, and it means I can just hit play and I'm ready to rock. I also brought a waist trainer to support my posture when walking, because your girl here doesn't have a great back. And what I did is I actually went out and I timed a 50-minute walk along Coolangatta Beach, because that's where I like to walk. And for me, that's approximately 6,000 steps. What I've even been doing is if I decide to go for a walk in the morning is the night before I even organize my supplements that I add to my superfood coffee. So all I need to do when I get up in the morning is I wake up, I meditate, I get dressed, I then grab my coffee and I head straight out the door, and I feel like an entirely new person after spending almost an hour focusing on me before I need to tackle anything that's on my to-do list. Lesson number 3 is the planet Jupiter isn't all it's cracked up to be. You've probably heard me say a bajillion times on the Cosmic Hotline that everybody loves Jupiter. They think it's really sexy. But I'm here to tell you too much Jupiter energy is grandiose. Anywhere where Jupiter transits in a natal chart, things will feel easier. Jupiter will meet you halfway. There's growth and expansion and abundance that will be happening in that area of your natal chart. What can happen though is too much Jupiter energy can leave you feeling like your feet aren't connected to the earth, and you might be in a hurry to do things or chase after things. Not only was work a coping mechanism for me over the last year, all of the Jupiter energy I had meant I was just riding this wave of abundance. And it was actually skewing my perception of reality, if that makes any sense at all. And so my mum always used to say to me as I was a teenager, because I was definitely a big rebel back in the day, she used to always say to me, you can do anything you like as long as you do it in moderation. And that's actually an amazing lesson when you're a teenager, because she wasn't saying to me, don't do that, because I would have done the opposite anyway and done it. Instead, she was giving me an invitation to try, to experiment, but also know that there's limitations to things, and how do you find your bottom line and moderate anything in life. And I think that's a beautiful lesson that is so translatable to the planet Jupiter. Everything in moderation. And so I'm definitely welcoming in Saturn energy this year, even though it is definitely eliciting a few worries and fears in me, and I'm definitely questioning more than I normally would. But the next time I have a big Jupiter transit, I'm going to be definitely approaching it with more moderation. Lesson number 4. During the past astrological year, I had a big epiphany. And this is probably one of the biggest epiphanies I've had to date. I've actually had a lot, especially over the last few months. And I realized that I'd been telling myself a lot of stories. And these stories ended up turning into beliefs. And they were actually limiting my thoughts and actions. And you could even say that these limiting beliefs held me back from reaching my full potential and living the life I truly wanted. So, for example, I used to believe that I had to prove myself, which could also be interpreted as not feeling good enough. And this belief stemmed from a negative story I had been telling myself for years. And I'd essentially turned it into a self-fulfilling prophecy. I kept holding myself back from taking the necessary steps to achieve my goals, because at the end of the day, I didn't believe I was capable of succeeding. Or what I'd do is I'd overcompensate in other ways. But then I realized that I had the power to change this narrative. So I started to challenge these stories I'd been telling myself and replacing them with more positive and empowering ones. And when I started to do this, I began to see myself in a new light. But I want to be honest with you, I'm still a work in progress. What this lesson has taught me is that the power of our narratives is they shape our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately our lives. So if you find yourself, like me, telling yourself a negative story or holding on to a limiting belief, I encourage you to challenge those narratives and reframe them in a more positive and empowering light. Lesson number 5. I realized something big. I have this habit of over intellectualizing things. Like, I'll analyze and dissect my emotions to the point where I'm not actually feeling them. It's like I'm stuck in my head trying to understand everything logically, but not really connecting with the emotional side of things. And let me tell you, it was not serving me well. I mean, how can you really grow and learn about yourself if you're not feeling your emotions fully? Hello, my Aries moon. It's like trying to understand all our aspects in our natal charts without knowing the foundational parts. When this happens, you're not going to get very far. So, I've started practicing mindfulness and going back to my trusty morning meditation practice. And I try to feel my emotions in the moment and just notice it without judgment or like over analyzing it. And guess what? It's actually made such a difference. So, if you're like me, or if you tend to overthink things, I encourage you to try tuning into your emotions and allowing yourself to fully experience them because it's definitely been worth it. Lesson number 6. Have you ever been so focused on achieving your goals that you forget to enjoy the journey? Hi, that's me. That's definitely what happened to me over the last year because I was so determined to make my mark in the astrology space that I forgot to have fun and enjoy the ride. And it doesn't mean that I didn't have a good time because I definitely had like such a vibey 2022. Like, I had a great year, I achieved so much, and I celebrated a ton of successes. And that wasn't just professionally, that was personally too. But what I realized is there was opportunities for me to take a breath. And I woke up the other day and realized that life shouldn't be so serious all the time. I'm turning 40 this year, and I've never felt more aligned with who I'm becoming and where I'm going. But what I did realize is that I had been approaching my goals with so much tenacity that I'd forgotten to actually live. And it's so easy in life to get caught up in the hustle and forget to enjoy the little things in life. So, this big epiphany for me was all about life is more than just achieving our goals. It's about experiencing joy, love, and connection, whether that's with ourselves and others. So, I've started making a conscious effort to have more fun and enjoy the journey, try to stop sweating the small stuff and I reminded myself, and I continue to remind myself, that it's okay to take breaks, it's okay to relax, and to just have a good time. And you know what? It's making all the difference. I'm still pursuing my dreams and working towards my goals, but there's a sense of joy and lightness right now. I don't want to take everything in life so seriously anymore. I want to feel amazing. So, if you're feeling burnt out, stressed, or just stuck in a serious mindset, remember it's so important to take a step back and have some fun. Life is way more than just achieving our goals, it's about enjoying the journey along the way. And I know it sounds so cliche and we hear it all the time, and a lot of us know that, but sometimes you just have to have your own epiphany or your own light bulb moment to allow that realization to sink in. And then that's when the magic happens. Lesson number 7. It's okay to change your mind, period. I have changed my mind a lot over the last year, and I'm really proud of this. And this lesson ties into lesson number 4 on the stories that I was telling myself and how I was starting to reframe my perspective. And so you could say I've changed my mind a lot. And guess what? Nothing in life is meant to stay the same, including your thoughts. So don't be afraid to change your mind on anything in life. Lesson number 8. Last but not least, I'm done with trying to do everything on my own. Due to my upbringing in a single parent household, I was raised to be a strong, independent, powerful woman. And there is nothing wrong with that. And I am beyond grateful for my mum instilling these traits in me. She did the best job that she could with the resources that she had. And it was important that she imparted those traits and qualities into me, especially because my other parental figure wasn't necessarily a great role model. But what I've come to realize is that life isn't meant to be lived solo. And neither is trying to go it alone. So, whether you're trying to figure out a big decision in your career, or you're a team of one in your business, or maybe you're navigating a different chapter in your life and your friends are changing, I want to share with you that having people to lean on is so important. It doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you incapable. I've decided from this moment on, and I am declaring to the universe that I refuse to do everything solo. It's important to ask for help. It's important to seek out support. And look, I love investing in people to support my business, especially where I can. It's like one of my favorite things to do. But what I did towards the back end of last year is I also enlisted a spiritual support crew so that I could have people in place to support me on a personal level. And one of my favorite investments to date has been seeing Samantha at the Cotton Rooms, which is a beauty and wellness and Reiki practitioner place on the Gold Coast. And I go and see her once a month. We do Reiki, we do a sound bath meditation. But what I love so much is I connect with her, I chat with her, and she helps me to level up on the energetic side of things. And it helps me to feel more feminine, trusting, and aligned. So there you have it, 8 insights from the last 12 months. Overall, I feel like I'm only just getting started. And the cool thing is, there's a feeling of content that is coming with this chapter. There's a quote that reads, "Enjoy the little things, for one day you may look back and realize they were the big things." And I feel like this very moment is one of those big things. I hope you enjoyed this week's bonus episode, and make sure you tune into part 2 as we dive into the fiery world of Aries, babes.